When I think of your goodness, I just want to praise you more. For your mercy, your kindness, and all of your ways, oh Lord. You are so glorious, you are so awesome. You're great and mighty, you're so amazing. You are so glorious, you are so awesome. You're great and mighty, you're so amazing, amazing, Lord. You're so amazing, you're so amazing. It's my Lord and my...
Hello and welcome to Limitless, the show that gives you love and inspiration on a Saturday morning. And today we have an amazing guest. We have Reverend Bazil Meade on the show with me, and he will be talking about his life and all the things that he's done. We'll be talking a little bit about LCGC, which is London Community Gospel Choir, which is the very talented, well-known gospel choir that he started many years ago. So we will be talking to him soon. As we know, he is a pianist, he's a singer, he is a personality in himself worth listening to and finding out a bit about what makes him so limitless. First, let us watch a little bit from a video that he did with LCGC, and I want you to sit back and enjoy Bazil Meade and LCGC singing "Join the Caravan of Love."
Stand up and fight. All right. Yes, it is. All right. Hand in hand, we take a caravan to the promised land. Yes. Oh, yeah.
One by one, we're gonna stand with pride. One that can be denied. Stand up. The highest mountain and the valley.
The world can see that there is a better place for us to be. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Place where mankind was born, so neglected and torn, torn apart. Every woman, every man, stand up. Everybody take a stand. Join the caravan of love. Stand up.
I'm your brother. I'm your brother, don't you know? Yeah, tell me, sister.
I'm your sister. I'm your sister, don't you know?
Yeah, we're living in a world of peace. In a world where
everyone is free.
what you gotta do,
Bring the young and the old. Won't you let the old from your heart?
yeah.
Every woman, every man, join the caravan of love.
Got to stand up.
Everybody take a stand.
Join the caravan of love.
Stand up. I'm your sister. I'm your sister, don't you know?
Better believe it, yes.
I'm your sister. I'm your sister, don't you know?
All the children of the world can see. We'll be
Place for us,
yes.
place where mankind was born, so neglected and torn.
Torn apart.
Torn apart.
Ah, wasn't that lovely? LCGC, the London Community Gospel Choir, headed by Bazil Meade. Didn't we enjoy that? Wasn't that lovely? Join the Caravan of Love. Beautiful song. And so today we have a charismatic, multi-talented vocalist, pianist, leader of Europe's premier vocal ensemble, LCGC. We have Bazil Meade on the show. Welcome, Bazil Meade.
Good morning, Maria. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I was wondering who you were talking about for a minute.
Oh, you, of course.
Oh.
Only you. How are you today?
I'm well. Yeah. Yes. It's Easter. Isn't it Easter? It's an amazing how quick the Christmas day flies past. The build up,
I
11
know.
months plus, and
Oh
then
my
in 24 hours it comes and you eat and you sleep and it's done.
And it's gone.
And it's
And
gone.
it's like all of that fuss for one day.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's worth it. I heard somebody recently mentioning that, Christmas, and we know this really, that Christmas is every day, really, isn't it? The whole idea of Christmas. And, I like that, to be reminded of that, to know that, okay, actually, we can do this every day. We can hold this in our heart on a day-to-day basis, isn't it? That's me definitely wanting to hold on to yesterday.
Yeah, I had a lovely time. I was with my daughter and her family
Yeah.
in North London, and we ate and drank and laughed and played games, learned new
Yeah.
games that the youngsters showing me how to play new games. Yeah, interacting in that way is a wonderful thing without any schedules to keep.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
that's what Christmas is about, family time.
Yeah. Yes, and that's lovely. And I like the song that I played just now. I played it because it really did. I felt that it really symbolized Christmas in the sense where we are in this caravan of love. We're all family together, whether you're directly related or not. But at that time, everyone's together and sharing love and sharing food and sharing space and sharing air. And that is sort of a beautiful sort of epitome of a caravan of love, Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell me
very
about
appropriate.
that song.
The lyrics are very appropriate for now.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to come together, and we're all in a pot together. We're all experiencing the restrictions, the lockdowns, the frustrations of not being able to work and carry on normal life. And worse still is that now Christmas time when you can't even meet up with your family and loved ones. That is unbelievable. So it brings all sorts of other things, other sides of the human nature to the surface. But we've got to allow love to be at the center of how we cope with this, how we relate to each other, both those that we're familiar with, those we don't know, that we might be running into. Love needs to take the main stage and how we cope with all of these struggles.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think that would definitely be the thing that will get us through. How have you found in fact, we'll talk about the lockdown later, and I don't want it to become depressing today because it's so much good stuff about you that I want to talk about. Now, okay, so you came to the UK many, many years ago, and you brought with you this essence that now is affected the whole of not just the UK, but I would like to say that your musical influence from the choir, LCGC, and the works that you've done, everything about you really has created a real standard and a difference in music, in communities, the choir community first and foremost, vocal ensemble. Now, where did that start from? That love of music and where did it all start?
I'm from Montserrat in the Caribbean, tiny island, and I think most Caribbean islands is full of music, different types. You got reggae, Jamaica, you got soca, you got all of the other Latin influenced music. You go to Cuba, you have salsa and all of the different genres. But there's the steel pan, soca, calypso.
Yeah, yeah.
But church
Nice.
music, hymns were and have been around for many years. Of course, we would have heard, our ancestors would have heard these hymns through our white masters. Um, and I attended church with my family back in Montreal, more Methodist church we used to attend. And then when I came to England, we attended the Pentecostal churches here, and that's where the real connection and love for gospel music, um, including soul music, because it's all contained in gospel, jazz, soul, rhythm and blues. That's where the connection in my spirit began, and started me on this journey. I became a young man who wanted something more than just going to blues dance at the end of the weekend or clubs or whatever.
Yeah.
I found them unhealthy activities because people were being stabbed. You're spending all your money to go out and buy the best clothes that you could wear. You could go out looking smart, but some guys were coming home having whatever, and it didn't feel like that's I wanted to be. So church became more a place that was sensible and comfortable for me. So I went to church, and I discovered that my ears were being tuned into music, and the minister of the church I attended, which was a New Testament Church of God, took me under his wings. I'd started playing guitar a little bit because my older brother, when he came to England, first thing he bought with his first wage packet was a guitar, having learned to play a little bit on Montserrat. So I started listening and watching him picking up his.
Basil? Okay, so Bazil Meade, he came to England in very early in the 20th century. He basically came around 1982. He's been in this country for a while, and he started off LCGC around a few years after that. So he basically started off LCGC and has been since then working with some of the great people in music, in the pop industry. He's worked with people like Madonna, Sting, Sir Paul McCartney, Brian May, Tina Turner, Diana Ross, Luther Vandross, Kylie Minogue. He's linked with people like Prince Charles and numerous different projects out there. And, so really, if you ever wanted to know about vocals and the history of gospel music, it would not be possible without knowing and following the life and the works of Bazil Meade. I was just talking about you. I've literally been going through your resume. I was talking about your links with people like Madonna, Sting, Sir Paul McCartney, Brian May, Tina Turner, Prince Charles, Diana Ross, Luther Vandross. Notice how I just dropped the royalty in there. and your influence. But yeah, you were talking about.
Been around for quite a while, and I've met many of the famous artists from the UK, going back from the 80s when we first started. In fact, we were the only gospel community choir and the name, so it was a community. So the members came from different churches. Yeah. I was the hierarchy, and so, or call me the bishop or whatever. So it was a bit of a challenge to church leaders at the time, because they thought I was stealing their members, young members, to start my own church, which I had no interest in doing at all. I already belonged to a church. Yeah. And being a church pastor was not necessarily in my ambitions, in as much I was quite prominent in the church that I attended, Lateran Outpouring Revival. But my heart was in the music and sharing my faith through the music. So it opened doors, because we're the first gospel choir, British gospel choir. Because when people heard us first on TV, the reaction was just amazing. People wrote into Channel 4 at the time. Channel 4 had just been birthed, same time as LCGC. So they were new So they were bringing a different menu to the table in terms of TV presentation. Now, you're too young to remember all of that. What's too young? I'm not going to take you there. Channel 4 was great, and so they brought in a magazine program called Black on Black, where they showed the political side of the Black community, the social needs, and of course music, food. Music played a big part, and so we were invited on one of the occasions to come into the Easter show. One year was Easter or Christmas show rather, and bring the gospel, the spiritual element of the Black community through music onto this show. And it was massive explosion at that time, because people did not know there was that style of church music here in the UK. They know it was in America, but didn't know it was here in UK. And so that helped us that launched us in a massive way, very much like the Kingdom Choir who sang at the wedding of Meghan and Harry. They were launched through that. So our equivalent was this big massive TV show that new TV show that we performed on called Black on Black.
So tell me about People Get Ready. Is that a song that came out of Black on Black then? Is that a song? How did that come about, that particular song? Because that when we talk about British gospel, that's like one of those pivotal songs that you have to play. You have to go back to that again, because it seems like it's one of the first most popular gospel songs in the UK.
I don't think it was a gospel song in the first place.
Really?
I don't think it was meant to be a gospel song. People get ready, there's a train come. Curtis Mayfield. Mayfield. Yeah. Picking up passengers from coast to coast. All you need is faith to hear the diesel coming. Don't need no ticket, you just get on board. It's a fabulous song. The message is fabulous. You can use it to say many things. It's a good train. It's a train that's taking people to freedom.
Yes.
Out of bondage, out of difficulties.
Yes.
So when, as an artist, when I sing that, it's to my audience. It's let us get on. It's not a gravy train. It's a train that will give freedom, and you need to do what's needed to get on this train. Drop everything. Let us be together.
Right. That's right.
I
love the fact that you've mentioned that, because actually, yes, a lot of people are in bondage, and we can talk about bondage or slavery from the very typical sort of oppression in the society, or hierarchy of sort of oppression, but there are other bondages as well. So
absolutely.
It's a powerful song. It resonates with me from a gospel perspective. I look at it as the good news that we do need to open our minds. We need to free our hearts, don't we, so that we can actually begin to live the real life.
Yeah, it's one of those songs that comes in the bracket of message songs. So you can use it to get the message over, your particular message over. As you're on the stage, it has the Christian invitation there. It also has the invitation to get away from your struggles, from the things that hinder you and keep you back from progressing. You might have certain ambitions. You will need to get on a particular train to achieve those ambitions. Make sure you're at the right platform.
Yes.
Make sure you're living in the area. You have the right people and influences around you. Let's get on the train that takes you where you need to go. There's so many ways that you could interpret that. So that's why as artists, we have to be very careful of what we send out to our audiences. We take our craft or what we do seriously. We carefully select what the message that we're sending out to the audiences to come to listen to us. Very important.
And when we spoke earlier on, we spoke about the need for an artist to be so true and really to express. Can you tell us, I think that would be something that the audience would really benefit from, the need, because I know you've started the Bazil Meade experience, and in a lot of your recordings, there's a rawness that I hear and that is endearing. You want to hear more of it because, you know, gone are the days where we just want to hear a nice song with a nice somebody singing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We want to hear
Absolutely.
the soul.
Yeah.
So
I think that, yeah.
oh,
I think the artists who are there, the artists who are trying to redefine themselves and getting there as well. You know, what am I about? You know, is it just making music? Is it just making music that people look on and say, yeah, the notes are in the right place, you're doing the right things, it's structured the way it should be. And they're looking on the technicalities of music. But, you know, is my heart in it? Do I really believe the messages I'm sending out there? You know, and I think it's important for artists to look at themselves and see, because we're very privileged in that people will pay, hopefully most of the time. Occasions you have to not expect money back for what you do, but because we depend on what we do to live, then you try to negotiate funds that will come into your bank and those who are working with you. But the music needs to be able to enlighten, need to uplift, need to encourage, and also people might want to just dance sometimes. So you need to, you know, you're cooking a meal. That's what I describe music. I compare cooking to making music. It tastes better when you do it with your heart, not necessarily with the recipe book. You know, not the dots. You don't need the dots. You do it with your heart. And the food come out tasting more, much better. There's something about it when you cook with your heart and your feelings, and you put all those ingredients in. Music is that. You create something, has the ingredients that your listener can taste. Because, they can taste in their mouth and they begin to move. It opens their mind. It opens their soul. They might be going through something that they need to hear on that beautiful wave of music, some lyrics that will get them to assess things, to analyze what they're going through, and come to a solution. Maybe it might mean tears. Maybe that might mean the opposite, or it could be tears of joy or tears of sadness, but you're releasing, and we need that release. Music helps you to do all of that. We are blessed to have this very powerful tool. So it's important for artists to be true and honest with their message, with what they create, and share to the public, share with the public. Very, very important. It's a vital part of what we do in our music making.
Okay, I mean, it's such awesome words, and I think that it's something that everyone needs to learn. Let's listen to your a little bit of the Bazil Meade experience now, because I know you sang "People Get Ready." So we're going to listen to that, and then we'll come back and talk a bit more about this subject. Okay, so everyone enjoy the Bazil Meade experience. People Get Ready.
Say we stand for nothing. There's no way we ever could see what's going wrong with the world and those who lead it. We just don't have the means to rise above and beat it. So we keep on waiting on the world to change. We keep on waiting on the world to change. It's hard to beat the system when we're standing at a distance. Keep on waiting on the world to change. If we have the power to bring our neighbors home from war, they would have never missed a Christmas. No more ribbons on the door. When you trust your television, what you see is what you got. Hey, when you don't know the information, They can bend it, don't they? Why? We keep on waiting, waiting on the world to change. Yeah, waiting, waiting on the world to change. Waiting, yeah, world to change. Yeah, waiting on the world to change. It's hard to make the system when you're standing at a distance. So we keep waiting, waiting on a world to change. People get ready. There's a train a-coming, picking up passengers. They're going from coast to coast. All you need to do is hear the diesel humming. You don't need no ticket. You just get on board. Drink it already. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Yeah, yeah. Coming. You better get ready. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Come on. Get on board. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Coming. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Get on board. They're in the room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind just to save his own. Have pity on those whose chances go thin. There's no hiding place from the Father of creation. Better get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. I want to hear you say, get ready, get ready, get ready. Come on. Get on board. There it is, there it is. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Coming. Oh. Get ready, get ready, get ready. Get on board. Hey, I believe there's a train coming. I believe get on board. I believe we'll go. I believe there's a train coming. I believe it. I believe. Just get on board.
Wow. Waiting on the world to change. Basil,
Mm.
what were your musical influences? Because I hear, there's a certain unique sound that you've got there. But growing up, what were your influences?
My influences came from everywhere. I mean, I was one of those church boys who didn't only listen to church music.
Yeah.
Because I love Curtis Mayfield, Ohio players, some groups you've probably never heard of. There's Rance Allen in terms of gospel, Andre Crouch, Southern California Community Choir, James Cleveland, a good friend of mine, Reverend James, Gene Martin. There's James Moore, Mississippi Mass Choir, Shirley Caesar, and my queen of all the queens, Aretha Franklin. Loved Aretha's sound, particularly when she sang gospel and blues. She did jazz as well, but gospel, she just brought an emotion to me that made my whole body tingle. Her sound and her piano playing. Some folk didn't realize that she was a fantastic piano and a very unique style in playing piano. So my influences from everywhere. Billy Preston, Hammond organ player, who was considered the fifth Beatle. Sam Cooke, Otis Redding. I love the old sound as well.
Yeah.
And then you've got the more recent artists, some of those boy bands, Boys to Men, I mean, I listen to all styles of music. I love some classical music, and occasionally I used to even go on a Bhangra station and listen to Bhangra music, and of course the high life Afrobeat.
Yeah.
I'm a musician. I just love all styles of music, and particularly when I can hear the culture being celebrated in the music.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is power.
Yeah.
And that's another topic, because I think in many ways our church, the music of many of our churches has been the original, the cultural music has been left to embrace a different style that
Mm.
does not reflect who they are.
No.
I'm not saying you should not learn and flavor up your music with other styles, recognize other people, but do not lose your heritage and your own
Mm.
style.
Mm. I think with the musical culture, what is really important is evolution. So not necessarily that it stays the same,
Hmm.
but you see the essence of the original within the
Still there,
change.
still very yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Not a
think.
complete change, because that would not make any sense. But when there's elements, core
Mm,
soul of the original, but
mm,
then you see the evolving of it, that's beautiful.
mm.
That's beautiful. Because that's
Yeah,
what, like I was saying before, that's what we all are. We're evolution, we're evolving, you
yeah,
know what I mean? From the first
yeah,
man, we've
yeah.
changed and we've developed and we're wiser. And I hear where you're coming from. It's important to keep the essence, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's a very important thing, because then you sense of your journey of where it all began,
Yeah.
and it's to me you're selling out from those people who created, who pioneered, who
Mm,
gave birth to. You no
mm,
longer celebrate them as if they're no longer important, but aren't they? I go that deep with it, because I think as a race we have our struggles are immense. Our struggles are immense, and we must not allow any desire to evolve, as you said, to make us lose our heritage and the foundation.
yes.
Because always to build a foundation, the work is much greater than when you're just putting in the refineries of the building. The
Mm,
foundation is where majority of the really hard work. You're starting
mm,
from a blank page. You
mm,
earth, you've got to dig, you've got to carry heavy loads of
mm,
rubbish. You've got to throw out the bad stuff, and it's an area that looks like the craftsmen can come in and work. So we must not, deny those who built, who worked hardest to give us this foundation. We must not deny them. We must not ignore the pain, the suffering, and all that they brought to the table. We celebrate that in our music. Our food is another area that food
yeah,
speaks
yeah.
volumes about culture,
It
music,
does,
food, the
isn't it?
arts. So
Yes.
it's important. And in worship, to me, people say, well, God is everything and everybody. Yeah, but we must recognize that he acknowledges us as a people and as a race. Let
Yeah.
us not think anybody else is more important than we are. We're
Yeah.
equally as important as everybody else. And whatever
Exactly.
we bring to the table is as important and it's as valuable. We're not trying to say anybody is inferior, but we're saying we are equal.
That's
And
right.
in church, in our faith, we need to reflect that also, not
Yeah.
just in the secular world. Let us not use faith and religion to make us feel we're more humble. We shouldn't be. We should be more humble than anybody. We have no right to be more humble than anybody else. We have right to be equal in
Yeah.
all areas.
I like
Music is
it.
one of them, definitely.
Yeah, I like what you're saying here, because I think I think you rightfully just said the fact that we do tend to say, well, we've got to talk about the spiritual aspect. It's not about the vehicle that carries it. We're worshiping God in spirit, but he also said worshiping in spirit and in
And
truth.
truth,
Truth.
absolutely, truth.
We can keep it real.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
it real.
Keep it
What
real. Keep
I
it
mean,
real. Don't this sanctimonious people, feel that we are any holier than anybody else by being more humble. It's
mm,
not. It's not. You're just being stupid. It's being blatant. Um, you can prefer others, prefer
yeah,
them in love in a way when they respect you in the same way.
yes,
The mutual respect is very important. But
yeah,
when you're going to be respecting others and bowing down to others and being more humble for the
yes,
sake of keeping friendship and relationship, keep
that's an
that for me.
important. Mm,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
and
yeah,
that's what often ends up losing the essence in the music when we wonder why does this sound so manufactured, and which is what manufacturing means, where you've literally just taken the surface formula and recreated based on that formula and forgotten about the roots of it, what makes it so special, so what makes it the soul.
yeah,
The
yeah.
soul has been taken out, and that's where
Oh,
it loses
and
that.
I miss that. I miss
Mm,
that because when I worship, I like to know that the style that I'm worshiping is one that is coming from the soul
yeah,
of the person who wrote it, and it's going through generations, hundreds, thousands of years. I connect into all of that when I worship
yeah,
because I am going before God as a person who has an image of me, and one that I'm very proud of, and believe that He respects me and sees me as who I am. He doesn't see me as some other being or someone or another race. And I believe He loves me as I am.
yeah,
And I'd like to come to Him in truth, not
yes,
pretentiously,
that's
but in
right.
truth.
In truth, yes.
And that's what
And
I encourage people who are with me to, be truthful about what you're doing. You don't copy me
mm,
because my journey is different to yours. My experiences are different to you. Have your own experiences.
that's it. That's it.
Seek that and let that be that what motivates you to have your relationship with God.
Yeah.
It's such an important thing. And you could communicate with people, whatever color, whatever culture, you're communicating with them truthfully, honestly.
Mm. And that cuts through language. And that's what we
Absolutely.
get when we listen to the music.
Absolutely.
Now you've
Absolutely.
started this new movement, which is the Bazil Meade experience, which
Mm.
I've been enjoying quite a lot, watching and following. Could you tell us? Because obviously, for many years, over 30 years now, you've dedicated your career, your life to LCG
Mm.
and to the choir, the vocal ensemble. What inspired this?
Um, my job, I left school at 15. I needed to leave because I was in a home where I was unhappy. The stepfather I didn't get on very well with. This was quite abusive. And so I felt I need to make a choice at that time because I wasn't doing great at school physically, at all the sport and athletics and stuff like that. I was brilliant at.
Mm,
Um, but I needed to leave so I can be independent and earn my own money. Basically, it was as blatant and basic as that. Um, and I was sent to a Polish Jew, ex-army. He fought in the Second World War, so he carried injuries from the war. He was badly injured, but he came to England, and amazing man, electrician, electrical engineer, whatever you call him. But he repaired industrial in motors.
yeah.
So the motors in the factories that ran the machines, he repaired those
Mm,
car dynamos and all of that. And I was sent to him, and I worked and learned. He taught me the trade, and a number of boys came through that particular medium in order to find out what they wanted to do, and we were quite good with our hands, and technically we learned everything. We didn't go to City and Guilds classes to learn. We learned from him. He was a
mm,
great teacher. So
mm,
that job I learned is called an armature winder. and we would have been exempt during the war because we were the guys who were kept back to keep the factories that made all the armor and everything else going. We kept those motors going. So we learned like transformers. We learned how to make transformers. So that's what I did. And I left that job after becoming self-employed many years later to go into music, because while I was working in that job, all I was hearing was gospel songs. I was writing songs while I was on these motors, and it came to a point one day when I said, oh gosh, I cannot do this anymore. I have this passion for gospel music. I was hearing gospel music from America. I wanted that here in UK. And it took over my mind and everything about me. Mind you, at this time, I'd gotten married. I bought my first home, started our family. So our daughter, Vernetta, was here. And moment of madness, I went upstairs to the office, told the guys I'm giving my notice, and I cannot immediately, in fact, giving notice, told them I'm leaving. And I walked out on the job. I didn't know how I was going to pay my mortgage or look after my family. And this was after LCGC, I had the first concert with LCGC, and the responses were just amazing. I left the job and didn't know how I was going to look after my family, but my conviction at that time was you need to give your full-time attention to developing the music here in the UK. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And so the whole experience, I learned to play keyboards. I was prayed over by my church master, my mentor, the woman I will love until the day I die, because she, with all the struggles I was going through during my teenage years, she took me under her wings. Olive Paris took me under her wings. I left her, listen, Maria, we would need a few days for me to tell my whole story. But I left home because, again, this is an abusive relationship with my stepfather, and I went to Germany to get away from, just get away, just to find a different opportunity. And I came back after a few days. That didn't work out, and I got in touch with Olive Paris, and she lived in a vicarage, a church home at the moment. She had about 5 bedrooms. She says, you come here and stay here until you decide what you want to do. And that's what I did. I never went back home after that. And I lived, that lady took me under her wings. I had to talk to her. She knew about my situation, that she talked, and she encouraged and inspired. Would give me lessons, English books, taught me how to do crossword puzzles. So up to this day, they're one of my favorite pastimes. I would sit down and do crosswords. I played on the computer and so forth. She educated me in many ways, actually made me feel a human being and someone with some value. And that compounded everything that I'd, all my thoughts, my thinking, my ambitions. In those years, she helped to bring all those things to focus in my heart and my mind. And the whole experience about wanting to develop gospel music in the UK really started with her and my life journey with that woman. She was the minister of the church, an evangelist, and I became the organist for the church that she then founded, and the head of music in the church. And so my whole journey was one that was totally unlike what I certainly would have thought. And when I see many of my school friends or talk to any of them online, they say, well, we had no idea you were gifted in this way. So what, and then I tell them the story again, because I was a completely different person. And the experience became such the passion became such a driving force in my life that I just gave my whole life. My family has followed willingly. I didn't force anybody to follow my influence, but they decided they wanted to go into music and gospel, and they're all doing their own thing at the moment. And the experience, the Bazil Meade experience came because I developed quite a unique way of doing everything that I do.
Yes.
I didn't have any formal training for playing keyboards, didn't have any formal training for the vocals. I just listened to all of the people, many of the people that are my influences through music, and I took from it what I felt was good for me and what I could manage and cope with. That I have a limited ability like everybody else. I think we're not super. Some of us might think we are, but we have limited ability. But I worked with what was good for me and what I believe I could deliver effectively, truthfully. And so people always say, well, you play different to everybody else. Your style is unique, it's different. The way you sing, the way you arrange your LCGC harmonies is a bit different. You have a different sound. So the Bazil Meade experience came out of all of that. It's who I am. I am being honest to myself. I don't try to be like anybody else. You will hear flavors of others because I've listened to all these other people. Yeah. But people will definitely say, oh, that's Bazil Meade's playing. That's his keyboard. That's his piano style. And that's what the Bazil Meade experience is.
Okay, because what I get from it, and I like the fact that you actually mentioned flavor as I was thinking flavor, because I was thinking to myself, the fact that wherever we go, our flavor is sprinkled. So you get in a sense where you've got the LCGC and some of the other things that you've done, and we get to say, okay, this must have been something of Bazil Meade because I hear a flavor of Bazil Meade in that.
There you go.
What this experience, what I was getting from it when I was watching it was like, now we get to find out what the root of all of this that we've been hearing. We get to hear it raw, and we get to hear the man expressing himself in the way he does he expresses himself. And it's not tampered with, it's not changed, it's not altered, and it's not compromised based on personalities or whatever it is. We just get you, which I really liked. And yeah.
Well, I think I've spent a lot of time, and I get accused of this. People slap me about a little bit. Say, Bazil, you spend so much time developing other people, giving them the platform. You nurture other singers. I mean, the music industry is littered with people from LCGC. This choir has served as an academy, and that's where the MBE is coming from.
Yes,
it's for services to gospel music, especially the contemporary music industry. That's what it's about. It's recognized.
You got that in 2018, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, how did you feel when you heard that you were going to be honored with this MBE, which is amazing?
You know what? My couple of ladies were working in my office at the time, and I received this letter one morning, and when you get a letter and it looks different to every other letter that you see, because there was a seal. There was a seal. I said, where's this coming from? So I looked on the back, and it said Royal, and I carefully opened it. And when I opened it, I read what it said, and it didn't. The penny didn't drop, as we say. So I put it in my rucksack, and I then drove to my office. When I got in the office, I walked in. I just burst out. I got this letter this morning from the palace, and immediately there was a reaction from both of them, as if relief. When you've been holding a secret, you're holding something down for a long time, and somebody comes and gives you permission to say, oh, I no longer have to hold this secret. So I said, what? He said, oh, we knew about that from 6 months ago, they said. And you didn't say anything. They said, no, we could not. We were sworn to secrecy. They wrote us and asked us to give us some information. So they've been talking to us all this time, getting information about you, what you've done, and all the other people you've helped, or the places you've performed in the world, and the artists, literally your background. I think just checking that I'm worthy of being recognized in this way. And so they're providing information. They've been talking to other people, just putting all this package together to send off to the palace.
The palace.
And then I was told I mustn't go public with it until they have announced it.
Yeah.
So I went to Dubai for a break at the end of that year.
Yeah.
2017, I think it was. And I was on the beach. I had my mobile phone with me, and the, I had my notification thing on for the video, and I was saying bing, 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 bing. You know, when your
Yeah.
messages are coming through. Someone said to me, "Is there something wrong with your phone?" I said, I don't think so. Let me go and check. So I went to the phone, opened it, and congratulations, congratulations, congratulations on your MBE. By that time, it had been released and made public on the website.
Wow.
It was amazing. It really was. As I said to people, it's recognition, not just for me, because I'm one person. It's the work of the London Community Gospel Choir. The members, the people who have come in down through the years, and there are hundreds of them. Those people come in, they stayed for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I've got about 3 or 4 members who are still there after 38 years. They were the original founder members.
Yeah.
But it's all these people who have contributed. They've carried the load of the, back in the day, we traveled by bus, by coach from London into Scandinavia, touring into Europe and back. We didn't fly places.
Yeah.
So I have to tell choir members now, that's what we're talking about, the foundation builders, the pioneers.
Yeah.
They're the people who really took the discomforts and laid down the foundation for those who are now members to have a much easier life. When we get a booking, we're able to negotiate a 4 or 5 star hotel, flights. You get people to meet you and pick you up from the airport and do things from you. That didn't exist back those days.
Yeah.
But the passion, the intensity, the community was, to me, much stronger.
Yes. It
people worked
together, didn't you?
The energy was just.
Yeah.
Yeah, the energy was just amazing. And people were not receiving a penny for it. They just loved being together. They were celebrating their faith through music. Benefits like when I started the choir, we started traveling. The Homeless Passport Office rang up my office one day because they were getting all these applications for passports. Many of my members didn't have passports at the time.
Yeah.
But I was signing, because I'm a ordained minister. I was signing all these passport applications. They thought I was running a bit of business. They thought I was running a business from my office. So they got in touch. So well, who are you? We're getting these applications. What do you do? So once I explained and then I pointed them to some of the things we've done, some of the TV work and who we performed with, and they checked it out and just come back and said, okay, we realize you're bona fide and legal. Yeah. So many of my members acquired their passport at that time. We began to travel. They were traveling. We were traveling in large groups of 50, 55 was the biggest group I think I traveled to Europe with on a bus. For 3 weeks.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yes, exactly.
Fun times. But of course now, you're now doing this, the Bazil Meade experience, which is very exciting, actually. Yeah. And I think it's something that we should watch a little bit more of now. We've got like some background information about your setup, and so let's watch that. The Bazil Meade experience.
I am a product of Montserrat, Caribbean island, small island. Came to England 50 odd years ago. My God, it's a long time. Enjoyed school, had friends, and got involved in various sports activities where most of my energies went into. But at that time, wasn't aware of my musicality or certainly my ability to play music. That came later on, and it was very strange. It all came because of my involvement in church and me discovering faith in God. Good to go. Okay, here comes playback. My musicians are Mike Brown, very well known on the British scene, particularly for gospel music. He plays jazz and is such a versatile musician. Leon Meade, my son who's been with the choir from he was born, holds down the rhythm section. Again, a wonderful musician. I've watched him grow and develop, and I look forward to him growing and becoming a much more efficient, much more well-known drummer. We had Carlos Edwards, again, one of my musicians from way back in the 80s. Been playing percussion, has developed, is well known in the music scene in the UK. And Tony Williams, the bass man, been with me for many years, has played bass, one of the few left-handed bass players around, holds down a mean groove. Along with Leon, Carlos, wonderful rhythm section. My backing vocals are Janita Crook, Monica George, and Annette Boyne, and they comprise for me at the moment the trio of ladies, and I particularly want to use ladies because I'm looking for a unique sound there.
The pain of today, if only the world would stop.
Performing songs that have been made famous by legends is one of the most daunting things to do, but at the same time honorable. I am honored to feel that I can step onto the same stage as these people and perform songs that they have made famous.
What's up there beyond the sky? It's been a long time.
Coming.
Yeah, but I know change gonna come.
The song Change Is Gonna Come has always been one of my favorite songs of all time. Sam Cooke, Bobby Womack, so many people have covered it. The message of the song, the lyric, is such a powerful message for me because my life has gone through so many changes, and here I am at yet another point of change in my life. So while performing that song, the message, the lyric, the meaning of the song just registered powerfully in my soul, and it just tore me apart. So it was very difficult to sing, and for me that is what music is about. Music should affect how you feel, every emotion, and that was an experience. That was a special moment for me.
Long time coming.
But I know, yeah, my change gonna come. Somebody help me. You're so low, yes. I'm determined to carry on.
Change.
Nothing.
My songs, and I'm sure most artists, whatever they create musically, comes from their soul. It comes from their life's experience. So when I perform a song that I have written, I'm singing about me, about a situation I've been through, things I've done, things that have happened to me. And I believe sharing that song will always help someone else who might have a similar experience, and they might learn something from the song.
Oh, wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And I think that, it really does show in yeah, you were going to say.
I lost it during that Change Gonna Come. I did notice I was struggling to sing it. My heart full, and when you're in that stage, you could hardly.
Yeah. Oh, I don't blame you. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a very, very emotional song, and if it really resonates in your heart, then of course you're going to feel it on different levels. Hello. Okay, I think we've lost Bazil temporarily, but that's okay. We've had an amazing time today. I've really learned a lot from him, and I was just going to say actually that we've run out of time now, and I've really enjoyed you being on the show. Can you tell us how we can stay in contact with the Bazil Meade experience, to follow what you're doing, and just for the audience out there to really know how
Yes.
to? Yeah.
Well, the people you've got to like the videos from my information. The Kaylin is my PA, so she will have all my information, and we must stay in touch and send you notes of what we're doing when we're going to be doing stuff. And at the moment, it's mainly virtual things, isn't it? Hoping this will change. A change need to come soon.
Oh,
It's
most
very
definitely.
frustrating.
It
Yeah,
is. It's very frustrating for musicians up
oh,
around the world. I think that, yeah, that song is really important for now.
mm,
What would you say? We're looking towards, obviously, the year's coming to an end. We've got one more week to go, or even less than that.
mm.
What do you think? For 2021, how what do you think about that?
My
And
goodness.
to what you're doing?
We had to move majority of what we were scheduled to do 2020 to 2021, and now
Mm,
it looks like you cannot you can't confirm anything.
yeah.
You really can't. You
God.
say you want to do them, and your clients. I mean, taught a lot of international work as well. We were due to visit places like China, there's Portugal, all over Europe, and Russia, places like that, but everything has to still be hanging in the air, and it's a very difficult. I hadn't done anything with an audience since March,
Yeah.
and I was in and out of the country. I mean, Europe, teaching workshops. I do a lot of workshop teaching, choir singing in Europe,
Yeah.
and I haven't done anything since February, March. And so people say, well, being at home, you have so much time to do writing and stuff, but it's a different freedom, a different relaxation, because I struggle to find the level of inspiration I need to sit down at the piano every day and write songs. It's not
Yeah.
flowing for me now, because it's an oppressive thing. I'm not doing this willingly. It's been imposed on me. So it feels different. People say, well, we're all in it. Absolutely. Maybe I hope it will change pretty soon on every level, so we can all work again, and so I can feel this freedom to being creative. But it's God knows we all need to be back to what we love and enjoy doing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Most
So
definitely.
keep watching the space, and as soon as anything happens for us, we will put it up. We do shows at the Jazz Cafe. That's one thing we've been able to do. We've been doing shows at the Jazz Cafe in London. Yeah. In October, we did October, November, and December, actually. About 3 weeks ago was the last one.
Amazing.
Yeah, we were meant to be doing one on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
But I think it's the second lockdown have now just snuffed that out, so that can't happen.
Yeah.
And that's the only live shows that we were able to do. We did one exception was in Essex on Sunday, in Saffron Hall, and again, socially distanced audience, fraction of the size of the audience you would normally expect there. But it was lovely to have an audience, have people in front of you sharing your message with
Great.
them.
So if people want to know when you're going to be performing next, and what the schedules are for this coming year, so they can follow you, is there a website?
Social media. There's a website, lcbc.org.uk. But
Brilliant.
readily to hand is all of our social media. We put the London Community Gospel Choir. We Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. We're on all those platforms.
Brilliant.
So we're easy to find. You put London Community Gospel Choir, not London Gospel Choir, London Community, LCGC. Many people make that mistake. So I hope to see you all in the new year. Stay in touch, and you can find me through LCGC and find LCGC through me. We're linked. It's my twin.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on the show. And we'll have to plan for you to come again, because your life is your story, and all that you have to say is just so much. 1 hour is just not enough.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So
and there's
most
much more.
Yeah.
I should have said, maybe you can say that when you get opportunity, that my biography is out there.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon. It can be purchased.
Book.
My
Yes,
book.
let's talk about that just quickly, where we can get that. So on Amazon, we can get your book, which is
Amazon, A Boy, A Journey, A Dream, Bazil Meade. It tells my
lovely.
story. It tells that of the London Community Gospel Choir as well.
Yes. Yes, brilliant. Thank you. I'm going to be getting that myself, actually. Before I see you next, we can discuss that book.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Thank you
it's a
so
good
much.
read, if I might
Yeah,
say so.
I'm
Yeah,
definitely going to get ready to tuck into that one. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really, really good to see you again. And we'll see you again in 2021. Bye, Basil.
I hope so. I'd love to come back and continue our conversation.
Most definitely. Bye.
Bye-bye, Maria. Bless you.
Bless you. And so you see, today we've had a wonderful time with Reverend Bazil Meade. He's just given us a taster of the Bazil Meade experience and of where things are moving towards in 2021. And like he said, nobody really knows. Nobody really, really knows. But one of the other things that he said that really triggered in my heart was, worship, the need to be truthful, the need to keep it real, the need to really not to diversify from who you are in replacing of something else in false humility, but to remember to be true to who you are. Worship God in truth, in spirit and in truth of who you really are and all that has come before that very now. Keep it real, because that is what God expects us to do. He expects us to keep it real. Worship him in spirit and in truth. Amazing. Simple words, but it's a revelation to us this morning, isn't it? So I want you to be blessed this next week. We've got a few more days till the new year, and we're going to have a limitless 2021. So make sure you stay tuned to everything we're doing. In 30 minutes time, we have got IDMC on the show. We've got their music and their live concert, their pre-recorded concert that we're going to be showing and having some festive fun with that. So make sure you stay tuned and come back again in 30 minutes time at 11:30. And until then, stay blessed and keep on living in an atmosphere of glory. Bye.